Quick question. How do you take a super 80s song and then make it even more 80s? You add Rise Against to it. That's what you do. So tonight we're going to talk about this song here at Mixtapes and Mistakes. We're here doing the cover song edition. So let me tell you how I got to this particular song, which I will reveal in a second. I was actually working on a mixtape, someone's mixtape, just kind of trying to find songs. And I stumble upon the cover version of the song that I'm about to reveal and realized it was more 80s than the original version. So I had to go back and listen to the original, and I was like, I gotta do this video. So the song in question is Midnight Oil's Beds Are Burning. I'm also going to include this song in the protest song mixtape that I'm going to be doing later on. This band formed in 1976 in Sydney, Australia. Beds Are Burning, I believe, is their biggest hit, as a matter of fact. It charted number 6 in England and number 17 here in the United States. It's off the album Diesel and Dust from 1988. So this song, overall, it's a protest song. And it's about giving native Australian bands back to the Pintupi, who are among the very last people to come in from the desert. This is according to Songfacts. They'd begun moving people in the 1930s, and they did a forcible move in the 50s and 60s. In 81, they were left to return to their own country and established the Kintore community, which is nestled in the Kintore Ranges. It's now a thriving community with about a population of 400. There's a line in the song that actually describes this area, which is about 250 kilometers northwest of Alice Springs. They ended up, Prime Minister John Howard claims it's his favorite Midnight Oil song, and they played it at the closing ceremony of the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Diesel and Dust as an album is ranked number 1 all time in the Australian album, the number one Australian album of all time. In the book entitled The 100 Best Australian Albums, which was published in 2010. The runner-up was AC/DC's Back in Black. Kind of interested to see what the top 10 on that was. This song actually won best single and best song at the 88 ARIA Awards, which is basically the Australian Grammys. It also won best cover art. This song is featured in The Kite Runner. It's also featured in the 1988 TV movie The Lady Killers. Ultimately, like I said, it's one of many protest songs. It's their biggest charting song. I'm more partial to Blue Sky Mine as their best song, but that's just me. Which is off the same album. It's also a protest song. So they'll probably be, if I put that list together, which I think are going to be 2 lists in that situation, because I'm going to do 2 separate segments of protest songs. It's part of another series I'm working on. But that's going to be this song, and that was going to be in there. So the cover version of this song is actually done by AOL Nation, which a lot of people know from Sail. AWOL Nation, from the song Sail, and Tim McGrath of Rise Against. The video is super 80s. Like, the video looks like a Tron, like a scene out of Tron. But what they end up doing with it, so what's so great about the original song is that it's, so there's a little backstory. There's an era from about, I guess, 85 to about 88 or 89, where world music was a big deal. World music like Peter Gabriel, Genesis, Susie and the Banshees a little bit, like a lot of Sting, like a lot of British rock, or you could even, because there's a couple of Canadians in that era that do some really interesting protest song work. But it's a lot of like social commentary songs done a lot more by British artists. But I discovered world music from listening to World Cafe, which I've been listening to for too many years to count, because I've been listening to NPR since I was like 7 or 8 years old. So, but I fell into World Cafe about that time. And a little later than 7 or 8 years old, maybe 10 or 12. But I fell into World Cafe, that's where I like discovered Peter Gabriel and fell in love with Genesis and all this stuff. Well, on kind of the back end of this era is Diesel and Dust. And it's one of the better known protest songs from the 80s. But what made this song work at the time was that there were a lot of Australian artists at the time that kind of did this kind of roots rusty rock kind of thing, which this song kind of embodies. And I think they were even on tour with Crowded House at the time, which actually helped this song a lot. So, but the song had a lot of momentum, had heavy play on MTV, because Peter Garrett, who later ended up in the Australian Senate, has a law degree, never practiced, was a kind of like imposing figure, and just as a rock star, he stood out, because the guy's like, 6'7", 6'8", completely bald, and he just has this presence. It's in the video. Like his dance in the video is a dance he does on stage all the time. Like he's that guy. So it has this kind of harmonica and like heavy guitar influence, like kind of like heavy acoustic guitar influence, and it's just big downbeat and the whole thing. The AOL Nation thing is early. It takes it back to the early 80s. So like it's taking this song and transporting it earlier in the decade. So it's like 1982, 1983, heavy synthesizer, lots of reverb. There's almost, if there is drumming that makes you, it's low, but super punchy. His interpretation, his vocal, it kind of turned this song. It was already kind of a banger, but it turned this song into just something different. But it also did a bunch of interesting 80s tropes, which if you wouldn't notice if you didn't listen to it. So towards the end of the AOL Nation song, there was this thing in the 80s that happened on a lot of songs, but was more prevalent 80 to 85 than 85 forward, which is taking a word out of the chorus and extending it, or doing like a second refrain on it. You'll hear it when you hear the song. But it was something that I noticed that happened a lot during the 80s. That it happened a lot more in the early 80s than in the late 80s. They time warped an 80s song and made it early 80s. It blew me away when I heard it. I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta do a quick shout out commentary on this song. I am not gonna do, because I don't think it's as good. I might include it in the description box of this song. So Brandon from Incubus, AOL Nation, I think somebody else, do a cover of another. What song is it, real quick? I was annoyed when I saw it, but I can't believe I'm talking about it. Yeah, it's when AOL Nation, Brandon Boy from Incubus, and Portugal the man. I hadn't heard this. They do a cover of Winds of Change, and I'm gonna do a quick synopsis of that cover because it's kind of annoying. So the problem with that cover is, and the reason I did not do a whole video on it, is because it's a stark difference from this song. So what AO Nation and Rise Against do with Beds Are Burning is they take a song and they don't ruin it by changing it or really trying to sound like the original. They take it and turn it into something new while doing a fair homage to the original. Winds of Change, it's not because Brandon sings the first part either, because I don't know what they did. But the beginning of their cover, you'd have thought they just lifted the Scorpions vocal and put it on the song and just slapped their name on it. And that kind of annoyed me about the beginning of that song. And I was like, what did you do? Like it just didn't sound good to me. Because I'm like, if I want to hear this song, even with different instrumentation, I can just find another version of the Scorpions doing it instead of you guys. It was kind of annoying. So, but I'm going to include it in the description box of this video. Like I said, I just stumbled upon this whole thing. But if you think there are other songs I could cover, like, share, and subscribe. Hit me in the comment section of these cover songs, and I will read it and I will do it. That's what we do here. Mixtapes and mistakes. So, the beat goes on. Thanks.